Black History Month here at Barnstable High School. Chrissy Williams, your social studies teacher, is that what they still call it?
Yes, yes.
So social studies has a lot of different content to it. You know, there's some social, obviously, there's some history to it. Tell us a little bit about Black History Month. What is that?
Okay, so Black History Month actually was started by Carter G. Woodson, I believe sometime in the 1970s, and I believe it actually started out as a week. It was Negro History Week, and then it developed into a month that kind of like just caught on like wildfire. And you know, a lot of people are split. It's unfortunately we really do need a Black History Month, because I remember when I was growing up, you know, who I saw in textbooks, and it was very little of who was reflected as me as an African American as well as a woman. So this is a month, not only, I think a lot of people get hung up and think that our history just began with slavery, and that's so untrue. You know, that's obviously a key part of it, but the triumphs, you know, the sorrows, you know, what we were before we came to this country is very important for people to learn and know about. And every day I learn something new. Right. It's fantastic.
So there is so many different types of things that you can do to teach students and actually the community about African Americans. One of the projects that you're involved with that will really come to fruition next year is a banner to welcome people into the school and tell them about Black History Month. Tell me how that idea came about.
A few years ago, we did do some banners for Black History Month, but they were just specific quotes from African Americans that we thought were important. I think we got together, there were 10, and we narrowed it down to 3 or 4. I think it's important that we just have a banner for Black History Month that we can pull out of the closet every year and hang prominently in the building, in the main lobby or outside the building. That way the community knows what's going on. People coming through the door know what's going on. And the kids, the minute they hit the door, they feel recognized and they feel important. So that's where the idea came from for the permanent banners.
Right. And let's talk about the construction of those banners. So it's always amazes me how all these other departments end up working together. One department has an idea and then I'm never going to say that word. You can say that word.
Interdisciplinary.
So how do you engage other departments to kind of take this and run with it?
Usually what I'll do is I'll throw out an email and I'll say, hey, this is what we're working with. This is where we're going. You know, if you think you might be interested, let us know. And so I have a handful of teachers that I know personally in other departments, as well as the social studies department. Our department is very close. And I just said, we want to do this project. We want to have a banner done by this time next year. Do you know any names of any lesser known figures that maybe the students can research and they can be a part of the banner? And so a lot of teachers said, we'll look into it and we'll get some names back to you. So from there, it's going to be a selection process. And then hopefully because I teach upperclassmen, I always have students who have taken fine arts 1, 2, or 3. So they'll definitely be spearheading the design of it. We have a great graphic design department also too. So I'm sure they'll be involved at some point. And then, you know, we'll decide and then we'll do the final draft. So that's how it's going to end up, hopefully.
What does the community learn about Black History Month when they see a banner like that? What's your hope for the community?
I'm hoping that their interest will be piqued and they'll want to learn more. I feel that the school does an okay job with it. I'd like to see efforts be stepped up in the district as well as the school, so that there isn't even a question. Like, there are still people who don't know that February is Black History Month. Sad to say, here we are in 2019, but it's the truth. So that's the hope, that people come in and go, hey, what's going on? Ultimately, I'd love for us to have a list or a calendar of specific things that we are going to be doing that month as a school to invite the community in, so speakers or maybe potluck dinners, things of that nature. So that's the ultimate goal.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about walking down the hallway in your department is a cornucopia of doors that are decorated for Black History Month. How did that project come about?
It was just fly by the seat of your pants project, which usually is my life. And so I saw a picture on Facebook. I'm a member of an educators group, and the picture was very simple. It had a teacher in Brooklyn and just said, look what whoever her name was did for Black History Month. And it was just a gorgeous door. And so I was like, wow, that's really, really cool. So the next day, my friend who teaches across the hall from me says, hey, look what my friend sent me. And it was the same picture. And so she said, I think I'm going to do my door. And I said, I think I am too. And so we kind of knew that we were going to do them. And then I said, well, let's just see. And so I just threw the carrot out there. And then a lot of people responded. And so that's why you get so many different angles and so many different visions of what Black history means to them as well as their students, which I think is great. You know, I provided a few examples in the email, but by no means did they have to do that door exactly like the teacher did. And so they did some research on their own, and some of the kids said, well, this is what I want to do. And, you know, we said go for it because it's, you know, the school should represent them. So that's how that came about.
So let's talk a little bit about the history. One of the doors that we saw had entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
This just fascinated me that there were so many people that I didn't hear of, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I pride myself on knowing my history of an industry. Tell me how that door came about.
I teach in the same classroom with a teacher. Her name is Monique Maurice, and she actually is starting a new program here, just started this year, in marketing and entrepreneurship. So that's what she wanted to do on her door. So she really wanted to tie it in with her kids, which is why she created the brochures, you know, as well as the pictures, so that if people said, oh my goodness, I never knew that such and such a, you know, own this company or whatever, they could just take a brochure, you know, do a little research on their own, and then that's their piece of Black history for the month. So
that's great. And what about your door?
My door is a throwback to what I looked like when I was a little kid. My mom used to always put me in little Afro puffs, and my hair would be parted right here, and I'd look like Mickey Mouse. And so if you look at my door, I've got the little separation there with the, you know, the Afro puffs. So that was my door. I wanted to make it fun, and I wanted to make it about, you know, a time period in my life that was very happy. So,
what door has surprised you?
My goodness. I think the two that surprised me probably are, there's one where there's a young African-American girl, and she's got her eyes closed, and she's dreaming or thinking about all of the African-Americans that accomplished great things in her head, and you can actually see it, and it's just fantastic. And then another door, I have another door that I like is just a side profile of an African-American woman, and it's got all the kids' hands, you know, and they use the hands as her hair. And that's just really, really unique. And the student that worked on that door, she's my student personally, and she worked very hard on that door, and it's beautiful.
So what are the students actually learning with this? It seems like it's a fun project, and we always think, are fun projects learning projects?
Yes, I agree. I think that it's important to be fun in education. You know, those days are gone where you just kind of sat there and, like, you know, the teacher dictated and you took notes. They learn a lot of decision making. They learn how to work in a team. They learn about editing. They learn about problem solving. Oh my gosh, we had this idea in our head and it looks a hot mess and we got to go back and clean this up. You know, the one door, it was a group of 2 boys, and I swear they must have went through about 4 versions before they actually got, you know, the one that they were satisfied with. And so they're learning life skills, you know, and work skills, as well as, you know, learning about their heritage, or people who have never been exposed to, you know, African Americans and known that all these people accomplished all these great things. So they're learning a lot.
What are people's reactions when the doors first started going up? Well, what did you see? Was there a stop and wow, or were people walking by and turning around?
Well, the first 2 that went up were my friend's door and mine. And so people were like, wow, that's really cool. And then I think as other people started to put their doors up, then it was just like, whoa. And now, you know, we have teachers coming in, you know, from all parts of the building, walking up through the hallway. I had a diversity teacher, an English teacher. She came and brought her class down the hallway, and now she's doing her own door. So I think definitely the reaction has just been really, really fantastic, and the kids are very proud. You know, it's very fulfilling for them to hear you did a great job, and they know they did, and they're like, oh my goodness, I worked really hard on it and it paid off. You know, so hopefully that skill will transfer into the classroom too.
And you had mentioned something in our pre-interview that struck me, is that there isn't a lot of self in some of your text and things for African American students. With these doors, what's the identity with these students? Are they really like looking at this going, this is me?
That is the hope. I know I've seen it with some of my students, particularly that are African American. It's okay to be in your skin, as we say. You know, we have a couple of sayings. You know, we got that black girl magic and that black boy joy. And so, you know, to walk down the hallway and see that, it's like, oh man, I'm cool. This is the cool hallway. You know, it's okay to be me, and I've got a lot of ideas, and maybe they'll work. So. They're very, very excited, and I'm glad. You know, they have been like, the minute they hit the door, you know, when the period begins, they're like, they just come take the stuff and they run, work on the door, you know, just like, I'm here, and then they're gone. And that's what you want to see as a teacher. You know, you want to see a kid excited to come to your class every day. So.
Right. And I guess I want to close with this question is, how can the community learn more about African American history, not the history that's always touted in a book somewhere, but the deep history of the race and how the integration and diversity has grown this country?
Right. I would say there are several ways. You know, a lot of African American history I taught myself. I make it a point to go to my family reunion every other year to learn my genealogy. It's very, you know, it's very important. It's very eye-opening. It keeps things fresh in my mind. There's so much research that you can do online. There are a number of websites. There's, you know, one that's like blackfacts.com. Some will send you a fact a day. On this day, such and such happened. And then there are webinars also, and there are lots of online classes that you can take too. And just go down to the library and say, you know, I think I'm going to take out, you know, the autobiography of Frederick Douglass. You know, it's a short read, it's fantastic, and there you go. Excellent.
Anything that I didn't ask that you want the community or your school community to know?
I really just would like them to really get behind this, and I think that, you know, it can really grow into something phenomenal if we definitely have a commitment from the schools and the district. It could just really be a fantastic month for the students as well as us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.